I'm Alex. I'm a people business partner working for the Co-op.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm the people coordinator here at Co-op Castlewood. So Alex, what is human resources in the world of logistics?
I think it's quite a wide spectrum in logistics. You can be doing anything from disciplinary and grievances right through to reward, right through to engagement. Especially in Co-op, as we're not really known as human resources, we're known as the people function.
Mm-hmm.
Give us an overview of your career up to this point.
Okay, so when I joined Castlewood 12 years ago, I came as a warehouse operative. I said that I'd never work in an office, never be a manager, didn't want to do that. However, 18 months later, I was an ops clerk working in an office. 4 years later, I decided to try for team manager here at Castlewood again on back shift. And then probably 9 months ago, I moved again to be people coordinator, which I am now. So lots of different things.
Yeah, I think I followed pretty much a similar path. I started working in the office at Castlewood. Moved into a more engagement role, then took an opportunity to be an apprentice and a team manager, decided that I wasn't really enjoying the people management side of things. However, I really liked the process management side of it. So went in to be a personal assistant for the HR directors, did people advisor, ER advisor, and then settled at PBP.
Can you give us a snapshot of what your daily and weekly tasks are?
Quite a tricky question, I guess. Because of how HR works, I can genuinely say in this job no 2 days are the same. We have certain things that we do over a period of time. So like we know when we're going to be giving ASRs, we know when different reward packages are coming through, we know when our annual surveys are and things like that. And there's certain things that you have to do on a monthly basis, like I pull a communication pack together on a monthly basis. But other than that, it's quite a reactive role rather than a proactive role, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, lots of different things. Like you say, there's certain things that we have to do weekly and monthly. But then different things will drop in, different people will want different things, you'll get asked different questions. So it can be loads of different things, and sometimes you know what you're doing and sometimes you kind of need help because there's so many different things in logistics. It can just be crazy, but very rewarding as well.
So let's do some myth busting with this one. Is it true that HR only works for the company and not for the employees?
I don't think so. I'm kind of in the bridging part between colleague and HR. That's where I see myself, so I'm the people function. I think HR were quite in office out of way, whereas now they're more active with the colleagues. It's not all about, we only get in touch with HR when there's something wrong. They kind of come to us for nice things as well, which is great. So I think we're moving along with the times thing and getting a little bit more people friendly, I suppose you would call us.
Yeah, the amount of times that I have to say, like, can we just remember that there's a colleague at the end of this? Or when somebody comes into a meeting and they're like, oh, HR's here, you best behave. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're here for anymore.
No, definitely not now. Is there something that you do in your role that people may be surprised by?
Honestly, the amount of data that I have to work through to make informed decisions. So I think sometimes everybody thinks the people function work on a bit of a mystic art operation, where actually we do plough through quite a lot of data and active listening and feedback to make an informed decision rather than just hoping that the wind's blowing us in the right direction.
Yeah, so much data.
So what are the hardest challenges that you've faced in your career to date?
So far, I think my hardest challenge would being a team manager so far. I learnt so much. Being a team manager, it's been easy to move into people. But as a team manager, you've got so many colleagues in your team that you've got to deal with directly, and they can be so different. They come from different backgrounds, they have different beliefs. So I think that's probably the hardest thing that I've done while I've been here at Castlewood. But then that gave me the stepping stone to move to people. So it's been an easier transition from there to here than it was from a colleague to team manager, I think. So yeah. Yep.
I think that's fair. I always find when somebody's leaving the business is quite challenging, whether that's redundancy, whether it's through TUPE, whether it's through disciplinary. It's sometimes really difficult to appreciate that it's a process and it's a necessary process, and you've got all the policies in place to understand it, but there's still somebody who's potentially upset on the end of the phone to you. And actually, and I wouldn't say the policy as such, but sometimes it's quite challenging to deal with the person on the other end of the phone, because you're being compassionate towards them, but you're also aware of the business policy and the why.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is an highlight you can tell us about your career to date?
I genuinely think the breadth of it's quite a highlight. Although I've done quite a few different roles, they've all spanned over logistics in some way. Whether, like, whatever I've been working in the people function, I've still had logistics as either a side of desk job, or it's been like a really integral part of my role. But I think it's given me such breadth and opportunity. That's such a highlight for me, because like I feel like I've almost got this little comfort blanket of logistics, but then I've got all this opportunity that's been, well, I've worked for, yeah. And then it's kind of gone from there.
Okay.
What about yourself?
Highlights. I think, again, although I do love being people coordinator, I think I like where my team, and they taught me so much. It went just about picking and packing cases and getting, although that is a part of logistics, obviously, sitting and having the career conversations, the colleague conversations, getting to know them, getting to help them through their career. I think that has been an amazing part of my job so far.
What are 3 key skills that have helped you to do your role?
Wow, it's probably quite a difficult one. I think empathy at some point, because people are so different. They come with their own life story, their own judgments, religion, all that.
I think alongside that, compassion comes into it.
Yeah.
Because if you think about some of the times where we've had, well, logistics as a health and safety
nightmare
sometimes. That's probably not the right word to say.
Probably
like,
not.
It's very health and safety conscious.
Yes.
So if you think of like the times where we've had to step in because people have got, like, the parents have passed away or their children have passed away, like the amount of compassion you needed in that.
Absolutely.
I think curiosity comes into it to an extent, because I think a lot of the time you think that you're taking stuff at face value, and you can't do that in a HR function. I think everybody, I'm maybe making an assumption here, but I think HR functions look like they stick to policy, it's black and white and thinking, but actually it's not like that. You have to be curious to get the right answer and the best outcome for your colleague.
Definitely, yeah. Very open-minded with people, I think, as well. Trying to explain that we're not just a policy giving function. We actually do care.
There's always grey bits.
Always.
So what has been the most rewarding part of your career?
I think moving colleagues forward. I think being a manager, you always get that bit where you can help people be who they want to be. You can help their career move forward. They don't always want to do that. Logistics, there's so many different ways you can go, so many different jobs you can do. And I think the team that I took over, getting them more engaged, helping them through with everything, telling them where new things were so they could do it, and then obviously moving on myself as well, which was quite difficult but really rewarding as well at the end of the day. So Alex, how was your experience in so many parts of the business helped you?
When I actually thought about this afterwards, I was like, actually, do you know what? I have worked in loads of different things, and I've been given so many opportunities because and I suppose because logistics is quite a standalone business a lot of the time, not many people understand what you do, and I do think it's given me loads of opportunity to actually see different parts of the business, work in different areas, understand different areas, like how it comes right from product development through to buying into supply chain and then out the door at Castlewood into a store. It's like a bit of an unreal experience, but on the way I've met so many great people who are always so generous with their time, so generous with their knowledge, and it's just given me loads of opportunity. And I think that is probably the biggest takeaway that I've had from working with so many different areas.
Okay, lots of things then.
Lots of stuff. Like, honestly,
I don't think you realise how much there is in logistics until you get here.
no, because when like you see adverts and stuff, it's very much we've picked, we've packed, we've put it out the door. But actually, you start right at a concept idea, and where I work, so I work with commercial and propositions and supply chain now. So I literally see it from day dot right through until it leaves a depot.
Yeah.
And the amount of work, the amount of inspiration, like the amount of creativity that goes into it, it's unreal. And you don't get to see all that. Over the next few years, what do you see yourself doing in your career?
I don't really think about my next step, because when I came here as a warehouse operative, that's what I wanted to do. Didn't want to do much else. As it happens, I've moved into so many different parts, and I've been in here probably 9 months now. I don't really want to think about my next step, because I think it'll take away from what I'm doing now, because I'm learning so much, meeting so many new people. Like you say, there's kind of from the very start to the very end of logistics. So I haven't really planned my career. It's just kind of happened, I suppose. So who knows? You?
I think I quite like my current job. And again, I've only been doing it 9 months, given that I was doing your job before that.
Yeah.
But I do think I'd like to look at possibly potentially a move into something like supply chain, into something different rather than working as like a generalist, maybe moving into something a bit more specialist, I guess.
Yeah, great. How do you see HR evolving over the next few years, considering you've been in it quite a few years now?
I think when I worked it out, I've been in HR since 2019 in some capacity, so the last 6 years. And I do think now it's very much gone from, well, the Co-op's motto is colleagues first always, isn't it? And I think we've very much moved towards that in what we're doing. Whereas I think if you'd have asked me 5 years ago, it was very process driven, it was really black and white. Whereas now we're moving more towards colleagues first always. But I think there's going to be additions on that as we go. If we look at the way technology is developing, if we look at the way of the world, I do think it'll become a bit more technology driven. So like with your AI and things like that. I also think some of when you look into policies and laws that they're ever changing. So who knows where the world's going to be in another 5 years and what we're going to have to do to adapt, because we never thought COVID would happen, and then look at the resilience and how well logistics adapt to it to keep pretty much the country running.
Yeah, definitely. What would the advice you would give someone coming through into logistics?
don't always consider the hierarchical move as the best move. So you don't need to chase promotion after promotion. Some of the best moves that I've made in my career have been sideways steps, so I could learn something else or develop a skill or understand a behaviour a bit more, and that's really helped push my career on.